and welcome to my training video. My name is Joshua Hartman. I'm an SAP Master Data Administrator. I'm also an SAP instructor for micromanagement using SAP S4 HANA EAM plant maintenance. Today we're going to learn how to create a maintenance notification, an M1 request. So here we are, we're at the SAP Easy Access Home menu. SAP is a transactional system, so we're going to use the command prompt here. And we're going to type in our transaction, IW21. Alright, when you get here, you just need to fill out the notification type. Primarily, most organizations just define three different notification types. Normally, it's an M1, an M2, and an M5. An M1 is just a maintenance request, so the equipment's operable. It just has a fault that requires repair. And M2 is going to be your emergency breakdown notifications, which can be tagged to the alert notification table. And then you have an M5, which is your correctives. So here you can either just type in M1, or you can click on the ellipsis and make your selection from here. Now you can see we don't have an M5 configured here in this dummy database. It's just a sandbox with dummy data. So we make our selection, and then you can just press enter and proceed through. And SAP is going to place your cursor where it wants you to start, right there at the top, work from the top to the bottom. So here in the notification short description, you're just going to list a fault. And this could be the fault that was observed by your operations team or production team that's going to report it to maintenance. So here we're just going to say there's a radiator leak found on a forklift, a Toyota forklift. So here we can copy this using, and I know it's a little redundant, but this is how SAP is sometimes. We're going to use our keyboard shortcut keys, so we can hold Control, press A, hold Control, press C to copy, and then place it down here in the description area by holding Control, press V as in Victor to paste. And then go back to the functional location. I'm not going to go into detail and taking you guys to the functional location structure. So if you clicked on this ellipsis, it's about backdoor into IH01. We're just going to hand jam it in. So here we're going to say 1710 MHE. So 1710, the prefix here is just a plant number, followed by material handling equipment MHE. And then we can plug in the equipment ID. We'll use that guy right there. You don't have to worry about assembly or coding. And then we're going to leave a quality. To create a quality notification, you want to leave a quality long text description. So here we'll just start with requester details. This was observed by myself, Josh Hartman, and then leave your email address at abccompany.com. And then you're going to have a description of observed problem, leak found at radiator, and it's just going to be a series of questions. So the next one's going to be, can the problem lead to a safety or regulatory compliance issue? Oh, regulatory compliance issue. Yes. Will this failure impact production? Yes. There is something else you can add, i.e., will it lead to downtime? Because we know production hates downtime, right? And yes, with a forklift being down, it will lead to equipment downtime and impact production. So we're going to say yes there. And we're going to have just one more short section and we'll be done with this part. The next section is going to be LOTO and work permits, lockout, tagout. and work permits. Does addressing the problem require LOTO, lockout tagout? Yes, they're going to have to lock it out while the techs repair the lift. And last question, does addressing the problem require special work permits? For example, hot work permit, confined space permits? Nope, doesn't require any special work permits. So that's all we need to leave here to create a quality notification. Now we can move on to the responsibilities, starting with the planner group. Planner group for plant maintenance, our planners is going to be 920. And guys, we don't want to hit enter until we filter out all the notification to its entirety. If we do hit enter too soon, SAP is just going to throw a lot of errors and it's going to be more complex than it needs to be. So let's just not hit enter until we're finished. Now we're going to assign it to a main work center. We want to assign it to our mechanic department. So I'm going to add RES0100. That's our mechanic department work center. And then we're going to assign it to a department responsible, which is going to be our maintenance service team. And in SAP, once you create a few notifications, SAP is going to remember your entries. So you can see I just hit backspace and it remembered my most recent entry, which is going to be the maintenance service team. Person responsible is going to be Mike Manager from the maintenance service team. So I'm just going to plug in a 54 here. And then reported by, this is going to be the ops or production member that noticed the fault in the forklift that's creating this notification. So we're going to assign it to this person here. Walter Warehouse. If you need to change the notification date, if you need to backdate it for some reason, you could do so right here. Now we can move on to the start and end dates. We don't need to be concerned with this required end date because if we set a priority, and here the very high priority is going to be reserved for your M2 emergency breakdowns. If you're creating an M1 or an M5, a maintenance request or a corrective request, then you can use a high or a medium. So here we're going to use a high. We don't need to tick the checkbox for breakdown. Again, those are reserved for the M2 emergency breakdown notifications. And then we don't need to do that required end date because now if we hit enter on our keyboard, it's going to ask us if we want to specify new dates. We say yes. And as soon as we hit yes, it's going to place a required end date based upon the priority level that we set. And in this example, it was high. And I believe we have high priorities defined for 2-day completion. So we're going to go ahead and click yes here. And we should have a 710. And we do. We get a 710 here. It gives us 2 days to complete the notification. You don't need to worry about revision. This is primarily a field that's going to be used in your work orders. And that's basically a field that can be used for planning and scheduling activities. So now we can scroll down to the item section here, and this is where you can list object, damage, and cause catalog codes. For the person that's opening the notification, you just need to be concerned with the object and the damage. And then once you convert it to a work order and maintenance repairs the fault on the equipment, upon closeout of the work order, they're going to go back to the notification. And at that point, they'll understand what exactly caused the failure, the mechanical failure on that equipment. So that's when they're going to list the cause catalog code. So you don't need to be concerned with this one. So here we could stop with the object part. And again, guys, this is a dummy database sandbox. We don't have a lot of catalog codes properly defined, so we're gonna grab something here. We're just gonna say shaft, and then we're gonna list the damage to the shaft. We'll say that there's a crack on that shaft. And if you double click, it'll just insert it into the notification. And when you do define all of your catalog codes, you would define an other catalog code. So if you have something that's not sufficient, you could just list other. And when you use other, you're just going to leave a detailed text here. So here we could just imagine that we had another catalog code just for the sake of learning and doing. And then here we would just say radiator leak. And we're not going to do the cause. So now we've completed our M1 notification. We can go ahead and green flag and put it in process and save it. So if we go to, and you notice that it has a notification number saved at the bottom, but if you want to access your transaction again, just go to the change transaction. IW21 is create, IW22 is change, and IW23 is display. If you use a /n, you could jump from this transaction to another transaction without the need to go back to the home menu screen. So the /n just enables you to jump from one to another. So now that we have that /n, we could type in IW22 and hit enter. And you can see there's our notification here. And if we wanted to go back into it, just press enter. If you wanted to, once the maintenance team's reviewed the notification, determined that it has merit, it's a quality notification. If they want to convert it to a work order, this is where you just click on this little icon here. It looks like a document, create, and it will convert the notification into a work order. And from the work order, you can, use the components tab of the work order to procure and order your replacement parts, repair parts. But we're not going to go into detail with that. I did just start as an SAP instructor for micromanagement. I have, let me go to my agenda here. This is the first course that I created, first of many. For anybody that has an appetite for learning, I am going to cover the entire module for EAM plant maintenance. Measuring points, measurement document creation, all notifications M1, M2, M5. We're going to go through equipment listings. We're going to go into creating functional locations, creating equipment master records for superior equipment, derivative equipment, building equipment bill of materials, equipment bombs, creating entry lists, creating strategy-based maintenance plans, single cycle maintenance plans, multiple counter maintenance plans, and also procurement as well, maintenance expenses. But my first course that I have is M2 notification, emergency breakdown notifications. And we're also going to discuss the potential for SAP alert notification table usage, which is pretty cool. When somebody creates an M2 emergency notification, if you have the alert notification table set up and defined, it's going to send when production creates that M2 emergency, it doesn't require communication, picking up the phone and calling the maintenance department to let them know, to be aware that they have emergency breakdown notifications in their inbox. What it'll do is, upon saving a notification, just like we did, if it was an M2, we save it. It's going to generate a Microsoft Outlook email to the person that's responsible. It hits their inbox and they're aware, they're in the know. In this course, we'll also go through IH01 transaction, the functional location structural display, which can be kind of complex. If you don't run it correctly, you're going to look at a lot of deleted objects, deactivated equipment, stuff that's been scrapped years ago. Sometimes it can be difficult finding the equipment when you got thousands and thousands of lines of equipment, complex equipment with assemblies, sub-assemblies, superior equipment, derivative equipment, bill of materials. So sometimes it's easier to just export IH08, which is your equipment master, to Microsoft Excel and just perform keyword searches to find what you need. We're also going to learn how to upload attachments and SAP notifications, whether it's a Microsoft Word or a PowerPoint doc, how to display all notifications using IW28. But also, I want to advertise my profile real quick. Here's my instructor profile. Here's a free coupon code. It'll give you 15% off training subscriptions, SAP apps access subscriptions. Micromanagement is how I became a subject matter expert. I got 20 years in industry experience, but also most people don't know that you can rent SAP servers on micromanagement. So that's what I did. Unlimited access. You can access the back end of the system, SPRO, SPRO, learn configuration, become a functional front end process expert, have unlimited access to all the T codes your little heart desires, and also individual courses. So here, this will get you 15% off. This is my username here, 15 Josh Hartman MMC. So if you like what you hear and you have a healthy appetite for learning, stick with me, guys. I'm going to have a lot of future developments coming up very, very soon. But thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to working together. Thanks.